So while I make up the story, Alex is going to improvise the sound track to it. Yeah. And we need to start with a word. Stairwell. Okay. We're going to start with the stairwell. There was once a great big house. We had tall towers and a huge front door. But the most important thing about this house was its stairwell. Its stairwell went both down into the cellar and up into the great tower at the top. The store, what was that word? Troglodyte. What is a troglodyte? Okay, thank you. Right, so there's a creature that lives in a cave, right. So the stairwell went up. Its stairs were beautiful polished marble. And the one who had to polish this marble was a small servant. And the servant hated his job. He would have to scrub, and the master would walk down with his great boots. And when he walked down the stairs, he left footprints. And the servant didn't know how he left these footprints, thinking he was inside anyway. What was he doing up in that tower? And he got mud all over his boots, and he'd scrub that stairwell. I haven't used troglodyte yet. Now, his world was pretty bad, this poor servant. And it was worse when his master would walk down the stairs and step on his hand. And one day, the poor little servant could stand it no longer, and when his master stepped on his hand, he called out, "Ah, you troglodyte! Get down from off your high horse and see what it's like down here on the ground." And the master looked down at his servant, and the servant felt ever so small. Smaller than the eye of a needle. And he wished that he could just shrink down and scurry under his master's boots. But his master's eyes fixed him and held him. And I need another word. What was it? Polka dotted. And as his master's eyes gazed and seemed to burn into that poor little servant, for some reason, all he could think of was his underpants. His bright, white, red, polka-dotted underpants. And his master, he just wished his master would stop looking at him, but his master continued to gaze down silently. Silently until that poor little servant felt frozen to his bones. Frozen and stiff, as though his master had turned him into one of his taxidermied creatures and hung him in the walls of his house. And his master, without a word, turned and walked down the stairs. And the poor servant felt that this was worse than any reproach or punishment he could have been given, because now he had no idea what his master was going to do to him. He started having wild thoughts. Perhaps he's gonna sew my lips together. Or perhaps he's going to amputate my hand. The hand that he stepped on. Oh, if only Batman could save me. Oh, and he rushed over to the television and switched it on, hoping for some sort of relief at seeing Batman there, because it was 5 o'clock and he thought that 5 o'clock come on, that was the Batman channel, and no, it was Christmas Eve. Well, actually it wasn't Christmas, it was, what's the other holiday that everybody does. It's Easter. Thank you, Easter. And he saw Jesus being taken to be crucified, and it stuck into his heart. Oh, it's a sign! My master's gonna crucify me! But he stopped. I will not have this. No. No. I will not allow myself to be crucified. I've licked thy master's boots. I've scrubbed his halls. I've cleaned that frickin' stairwell every day, every hour, on the hour, as he commanded me to do. But I still have some dignity. I will not be crucified. And so he began to pack his things. First, he grabbed... What's this? He grabbed a small dragon. It was a porcelain dragon. But it wasn't his, it was his master's. And as he looked at it, he thought, I don't have to just leave and vanish. I can leave a legacy. I can leave some sort of message for my master. Yes. And he took this. Oh, he took that porcelain dragon to the bathroom. And he filled that porcelain dragon with what could only be described later as something that would have given you dysentery had you smelt it. And he put that porcelain dragon on his master's pillow. And then packed his bags and thought, I'm going to have to... It might be a while before I find a new job. I better take some food with me. And he opened the cupboard and he knew that he had bought a fine salmon for his master's dinner that night. And he took it out and he said, this is going to be my salmon. My salmon.
Ice cream!
Yes, it was a cold cupboard. There was also ice cream in there too. That's right, it was a cupboard, specially designed cupboard with installation and a motor at the back. A special sort of air conditioning unit at the back of that cupboard. And he took out the ice cream. He put the ice cream in a bag. And the salmon on top of the ice cream. Yeah, it was going to be a good salmon. And he walked out the door. But just as he walked out that door, he looked up to see on the back of his master's ute a scaffold and a sharp blade. And he thought, oh my God! And ran. And that is where we'll end that story. So what did you think of that? That's good? All right, thank you. Yeah. Fantastic, good.